Welcome into The Keepers. I'm your host, Paige DeMacos, here with Chris Schubert, and we are talking fantasy football. We're taking all your questions. If you want to submit questions to the show, you can see behind us. You can tweet us at TheKeepersFF, which obviously stands for fantasy football. You can
is that what it stands for?
Yeah.
I didn't know. I thought it was fast food. Yeah.
Fast food, yep. That's the other topic. We'll get to that later. You can join us on Periscope. That's why, hello, Periscope.
I will not be speaking directly to Periscope. Unlike you. I appreciate the viewers on live stream.
He only talks to one audience. He's very discriminatory.
That's not true at all.
He only talks to the live stream audience.
In fact, I don't even think I'm in the screen on the Periscope.
Look at how Periscope is giving me all the hearts.
I'm actually in the screen this week.
While I'm talking about how you're discriminatory towards only the live stream audience.
Hi, Periscope. I'm actually in the frame this week, so I'll actually say hello.
I made sure Chris would be in the
I'm like in the corner over here. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, he's getting all the hearts. But we're talking fantasy football. We're talking start and sit this week. We have a injury update from Dr. Parekh we'll get to in a little bit. But we're going to kick things off with Thursday Night Football. Thursday Night Football preview that isn't the greatest fantasy football matchup. It's the Miami Dolphins and the Baltimore Ravens, and this one has a couple of pieces to like, but then mostly overall a whole lot of blah.
Yeah, I think it's the 31st offense versus the 32nd offense in terms of production going up against each other tonight.
Not great.
The game ends like 50-49 now because of it, but there's just not a whole lot to like here.
There's been a whole lot of that on Thursday Night Football, though. There's been a lot of big scoring games that I feel like could possibly happen in this matchup.
We go into Thursday night not liking the matchup, and then we come out of Thursday night enjoying ourselves for what we've watched. And that was the case last week. Although Oakland, Kansas City, I think, had a little bit more excitement behind it than most Thursday night matchups, and it certainly lived up to expectations. But Dolphins, Ravens, I don't think it gets everyone all excited to watch football on Thursday.
No, and the thing with the Dolphins game is Jay Cutler is out, so they're on their third-string quarterback and starting Matt Moore. They have Devontae Parker out. They have quite a few people that are out here in this matchup. So let's just get into some of the guys that we like this week. So I like this week Kenny Stills because Devontae Parker is out.
Yeah.
He's been able to get a lot of the targets. Stills has 10 catches, 134 yards, and 3 touchdowns. He's been the focal point because of the injury to Devontae Parker.
Yeah, I think, of course, one of the big questions this week is going to be, do you play Jay Ajayi, right? I mean, that's the guy that everyone wants to know about in this Dolphins offense. You certainly think, though, if they put Matt Moore in, they're going to try to run the ball a little bit more, try to have more balance in that offense. But really, look, it's Trend Thursday, right?
Yeah.
Here's a trend. Jay Ajayi's not been good this year.
Here's another trend. Here's another trend for you. On the flip side, the Baltimore Ravens are really bad against the run. So if he's going to have a week, it's going to be this week. The Ravens have been strong against the pass this season, but terrible against the run. They are allowing a league-high 1,017 rushing yards through 7 weeks.
So you look at that number and you think, okay, this is going to be probably the last chance I give to Jay Ajayi. I put him in there. I don't put him in an RB1 spot. I think you're probably looking at a guy that's an RB2, maybe a flex play this week, and you're not really excited about it.
No, he's been bad. But this is the week. He doesn't show out this week.
Yeah, I think we're going to have to come in on Tuesday. He's riding the pine.
He's riding the pine, like Chris will say.
We'll have to reevaluate this next Tuesday as maybe a potential guy that you try to just move on from, because I don't think you can justify after this game tonight, if he doesn't perform well, a spot on your roster.
Well, we'll get into Matt Moore later, but let's talk about Joe Flacco, a guy going into this season
he just threw another pick. Look at that.
Yeah, this has been a rough season for Joe Flacco. He hasn't thrown for more than 235 yards this season. He's thrown 5 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. That's not a very good ratio for a quarterback, and it's especially not good if you're a fantasy owner. He's only thrown 5 total touchdowns. When you think about the fact that Carson Wentz threw 4 touchdowns in his last game, that's rough.
You've been really big on this idea that Joe Flacco is hurt. And you're not a medical expert. It's just a hunch that you have.
I'm definitely not a medical expert.
You're not the medical
disclaimer right now.
You are not putting on the doctor cap and making a determination. You have a hunch as to why this has really been a slow start to the season for him. And it's not a slow start anymore. This is the Joe Flacco that we're dealing with here in 2017. He is bad. He is throwing interceptions. He's not putting up a ton of touchdowns. And I think the big thing that you need to think about when trying to play Joe Flacco is there a better option out there for me? And I think more often than not on most weeks, there are. I mean, I'll go to what I said last week. I thought last week was a great week to play Blake Bortles. He had more points than Joe Flacco. And that may happen more often than not, where you'll be able to find someone on the waiver wire. If you have Joe Flacco on your team, I would be shocked at this point, because he's a guy that needs to be on that free agency market.
Unless you're in a 2-quarterback league where he might be in that
I don't even think you can justify it there.
But he is garbage. He has been awful this season. I am definitely not starting Joe Flacco. I don't care if you're the biggest Ravens fan on planet Earth. Do not start Joe Flacco in a fantasy football game going forward. We talked about the main guys here. I think, is there anybody you want to hit before we talk to Dr. Pratt?
I think the Ravens defense is a huge play this week.
Okay.
I get why everyone likes Matt Moore because he's shown flashes. He's a backup quarterback in this league for a reason. The Dolphins had an opportunity to go to Matt Moore when Ryan Tannehill went down. They didn't. They know Matt Moore a lot better than we do. There's a reason why they did that. There's a reason why they're only now turning to Matt Moore. I think this Ravens defense is good for at least 2 interceptions tonight against Matt Moore.
How about a question coming in from Periscope? How about Jarvis Landry?
Yeah, you'd think the increased workload is going to be there. I need to see what Matt Moore does.
Yeah, this is the thing with this offense right now is I don't feel comfortable with anybody because I haven't seen enough. I saw less than a half of Matt Moore. So I don't know what
against
this
the Jets defense.
Yeah, and I don't know who they're going to go to. I don't know who he's going to favor because all the talk coming out of Miami Dolphins camp was Cutler really liked Devontae Parker. Then Parker goes down. So now obviously you're choosing between Jarvis Landry and Kenny Stills. I like Stills over Landry. But I think if Moore does develop some type of rhythm with any of these guys, the issue is it's a Thursday night game, less time to prepare. Yeah. And the Baltimore Ravens pass defense is really good. The rush defense is awful. So that's why I think Jay Ajayi has a good week.
Yeah. So let's talk to Dr. Parekh, and then we have some questions we should get to.
Okay. Well, let's get to Dr. Parekh.
Hey guys, I'm Dr. Seelan Parekh, the Fantasy Doctor with thefantasydoctors.com. This is the Injury Blitz, giving you the updated information on many of the injuries of the athletes, key position players you care about with this upcoming Week 8 season rolling on. So we're going to start right off the top. Joe Thomas had a triceps tear. That means he is done for the season. The triceps comes to the back of your elbow and attaches here. He had that repaired. Now, that is usually at least a 6-month return to play, sometimes up to 8 months, so it could affect his ability to return next season, at least the early part of the season. But 6 to 8 months is the usual timeline to return to play. Carson Palmer has an ulnar fracture. It's unclear if the radius is involved. The ulna is the bone on the pinky side of your forearm. The radius is on the outside. If it is just the ulna, a lot of times you can just plate this with screws and plates, stabilize it, and you can return 4 to 6 weeks to return to play, primarily because it's his non-throwing arm. So once the surgery is done, we'll have more insight if the radius is involved. If the radius is involved, he is done for the season. So this will be critical information that you're going to want to pay attention to. Jason Peters, big injury for the offensive line for the Eagles, has an ACL and an MCL injury. If you look at the knee, there are 4 ligaments that stabilize the knee. The ACL is one of the center ligaments, and the MCL is on the outer part of the knee. That is going to require reconstruction for the ACL. The MCL itself does not need surgery. You're looking at 9 to 11 months for him to return to play. So this will clearly affect what the Eagles can do on the offensive side of the ball moving forward for the rest of the season. Another big injury for the Eagles is Jordan Hicks. He had an Achilles tendon tear. Now, if you look at the Achilles tendon, it sits in the back part of your ankle here. This attaches all the way up into your knee. He tore it right about here. That requires surgery, and again, 9 to 11 months to return to play. A lot of therapy to get back to playing after those Achilles tendon ruptures. Mike Wallace took a blow to the head. His helmet even popped off and looked pretty scary. He is out with concussion. Most athletes will be out for at least 1 week to pass through the NFL concussion protocol, but some have done it in under a week. So we'll have to see, and occasionally this can take multiple weeks. So there's no way to predict it even from the video. You just can't know because everyone is very, very different. Jay Cutler has multiple rib fractures, is already declared to be out for Week 8. Look for him to be out at least 2 to 4 weeks. It just takes time for the ends of those ribs to get sticky enough that it does not hurt when you're coughing, when you're running, when you're exerting yourself. So 2 to 4 weeks for him to return to play. Dan Bailey has a groin strain. Now, for a kicker, this is very critical and unfortunately becomes very problematic. So this could be 2 to 4 weeks at the short end, but can even be up to 6 weeks or more for him to return to play. You've got to let that groin quiet down, because if you don't, you can re-aggravate, and then your timeline becomes even longer to return to play. So this potentially is a big injury for the Cowboys, but they'll have to keep an eye on it. CJ Prosise has an ankle sprain. He looks like he re-aggravated his ankle injury. This will be a day-to-day scenario, but could take 1 to 2 weeks for him to return to play. Pain, swelling, and mobility are really the things that will determine his ability to return. Typically, this will be a game-time scenario to make that final decision. Delaney Walker, same thing, has an ankle sprain. Again, 2 to 4 weeks typically to return to play. If pain, swelling, mobility are not very affected, sometimes you can come back in about a week. Malik Hooker, young rookie with a lot of talent and a bright future, has an ACL tear. We already talked about these. These are about 9 to 11 months to return to play. And for about 30% of NFL athletes can end their careers. So that's our injury blitz. I'm Dr. Seelan Parekh, the Fantasy Doctor with thefantasydoctors.com.
Welcome back to The Keepers. Thanks to Dr. Parekh for having us. Chris is very upset with me right now.
You're having some fun with Periscope during the break.
I'm having a lot of fun with Periscope.
You were angling the camera so that I wasn't involved, so I really feel the love. We have a ton of Periscope questions. Do you want me to just spitball them out here?
Yeah, let's go right to the Periscope questions.
Latavius Murray, Jay Ajayi, or C.J. Anderson? You get to start one of them.
C.J. Anderson.
Really?
Yeah.
You're going C.J. Anderson?
C.J. Anderson, Latavius Murray, and then Jay Ajayi.
I like Latavius Murray. I was big on him last week. He had a really big game. Pick up Greg Olsen, the tight end, or another tight end named Olsen. I don't think there's maybe there isn't. I don't know about it. And then
Greg
put them on their bench.
Still hurt.
Yeah.
So
unless you're in a keepers league, but I don't even think tight ends are worth protecting. So that's a no.
We just got one play: Chris Thompson or Tevin Coleman. Chris Thompson. 100 times out of 100.
Jay Ajayi, Latavius Murray, C.J. Anderson need to. We already answered. Oh, it's 2. We need to answer that again.
C.J. Anderson,
and Latavius Murray. Do we think that Thompson will keep up the production? Chris Thompson or? Chris
Thompson has been getting more and more touches. So this is somebody we've talked about a lot.
Yeah.
He's been continuously getting more and more, which you love. That's exactly what you want. You want to be able to see the production level going up each and every week, and that is what's happening with Chris Thompson. They are trusting him to be more involved in the offense, so every week I'm starting Chris Thompson.
Teddy Bridgewater as a pickup as a late season fantasy
I'll let you
player.
have this one, Chris.
It depends. I would pick him up if you have a very stable QB1 who's on the other side of his bye week.
I would agree with that.
If you are in a dynasty league and you are clear of the bye week for your quarterback, I'm absolutely keeping Teddy Bridgewater, because you know what? You enter the offseason, now you have trade bait for a team that may need a quarterback.
100%.
So I think it's very situational. If you have a quarterback whose bye week's still on the horizon and you don't have an IR spot, you can't pick up Teddy Bridgewater right now. You're going to have to wait a little bit. Big Ben or Deshaun Watson this week?
I got to know the matchups.
I think
Houston plays in Seattle.
They do.
Yeah, the Houston plays in Seattle.
Is Pittsburgh's playing Detroit on Sunday night.
Yeah,
that's what they're
in
doing.
Detroit.
In Detroit.
In Detroit. Okay, so Big Ben is not usually good on the road.
No,
he hasn't even been that good at home.
But Deshaun Watson is a rookie going to Seattle.
I understand.
I don't love it. I don't love it. I don't love this situation you've put us in.
Yeah, I don't love either one, but I'm playing Deshaun Watson.
I think I'm going with Deshaun Watson, too. I'm going with the rookie. Sometimes being a rookie, you don't feel the pressure. You'll go up there and you feel like, I don't care, and I can go out there and play.
You don't know any better, and Deshaun Watson's proven that he can play in the toughest atmospheres. Like, yeah, I've been to Seattle. I know the type of atmosphere it is. That boy played against Alabama in a national championship game.
Exactly.
There is nothing tougher than that atmosphere that he played.
Charles Clay, do you pick him up and sit him on the bench?
I don't think...
Jared Cook was available in my league this week.
I don't know when is Clay going to be back. I don't know.
It can't be at any point this season.
I don't think that he's going to be back this season. He's not worthy enough of a dynasty league type of player that I'm bringing back.
There was a request for you to do a 24-hour fantasy football Q&A.
I will do that.
I have 2 legitimate complaints about this.
Okay.
One, you need to get it sponsored. Well, it's not really a complaint. I'm looking out for you here. You need to get it sponsored by someone who's going to feed you. Okay. It needs to be a food company.
All right.
Like a Buffalo Wild Wings.
Ooh, I like that.
You need 24-hour wings, right?
Yeah,
That's what you need.
24-hour wings.
Secondly, and I don't want to call our viewers and your Periscope watchers out, but they got to give you questions for 24 hours.
I'm with you.
Because what if the questions dry up after an hour? Are you going to sit here for the next 23?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's not going to happen.
We can take turns.
So there's a possibility. You've been getting. Is Mitchell Trubisky good?
Is
he
Mitch
legit?
Trubisky good? Yes. Is he fantasy football good? No.
Why are the Bulls not good? The questions are just firing in.
It's about fantasy football right now. But I saw a Doug Martin or Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt has a tough matchup. They're playing the Denver Broncos, who's #1 against the rush this year. Doug Martin He's still coming back. I'm not quite sure what you're getting out of him. I'm starting Kareem Hunt every week. I have him in my league, and I'm starting Kareem. I know it's not a good matchup for him, but I've gotten to the point where you got to trust the guy who's been giving you the type of numbers and he's been giving you. I'm starting Kareem.
Blackhawk Mick wants to know, should he trade Ezekiel Elliott ahead of Monday's decision?
So I got a little insight.
Oh,
I got a little insight on this.
on the.
You actually know this too.
I know this.
Yeah, you know this.
I don't remember it off the top of my head.
Somebody who's invested within the NFL told us that there is absolutely no way that Ezekiel Elliott does not serve his 6-game suspension this year.
Now I remember this conversation. I do.
No way he does not serve the suspension. So hearing that and knowing how heavily invested this person is in the NFL,
they know stuff.
I'm believing it.
I believe it as well.
So I'm going with the fact that if you have the opportunity, Zeke is playing this Sunday, but he might not be playing past that. So if you can play him this week and facilitate a trade right after that, do it.
Juju Smith-Schuster, is that a good wide receiver pickup?
Love him. Juju, okay, first of all, Juju loses his bike. Everyone's trying to find it for him.
Should have gone to Martavis Bryant's house first.
The guy is literally, he's become a little phenomenon on social media over the last couple of days. And he actually tweeted out, he said, all these people that are in my corner are the same people that don't start him in fantasy football. And I tweeted back at him and I said, Juju, people who listen to our show start you in fantasy football.
Because we tell them to.
Because we tell them to.
Right.
So, Juju, I hope you're watching this because we consistently tell everybody to start you in fantasy
people
football.
Are calling out my hat hair that I have, even though I don't wear a hat. So that's where we're at on the Periscope. So that's what's happening over here.
Live look at Chris's hat.
Yeah, there you go. There it is.
He's got some hat
I was wearing headphones all day. I was editing. Yeah, there you go. Hi, Periscope. How you doing?
Periscope.
The Lions defense or the Bears defense?
The Lions defense or the Bears defense? Well, the Lions are playing the Steelers.
And the Bears are playing
you
should
the
know
Saints.
this. The Saints. Okay.
The Bears defense has been really good thus far, and that's not me being a homer. They've been top 10 in every category defensively, which was a totally not expected going into the season. I don't like the matchup. They're going on the road. They're playing the New Orleans Saints in New Orleans. I'm not starting the Bears.
No, I would go with the Lions defense. I think it's a very underrated defense.
Well, very underrated defense. And if you have both of those guys, both of those defenses, you're sitting in a good position.
Yeah, I would
because both of those defenses on a matchup basis, you can pick one and know that you're going to score some serious
points. I would question why you are holding on to two defenses and one of them is not the Jacksonville defense.
Yeah, I agree. I'm with you.
But
the Bears last week scored you a ton of points.
Yeah, because Eddie Jackson is incredible and scored 2 defensive touchdowns. I don't think that ends up being the case this week.
Okay. I got one right here that I see out of the corner of my eye. Should I start Giovanni Bernard this week? No. Should you start Giovanni Bernard any week? No.
I was just hoping somebody would ask you about Eddie Lacy by this point in the show, just so you can get angry.
No. This isn't personal vendetta. Eddie Lacy's personal vendetta, okay?
Yeah.
He took it to a personal level, and he ruined my fantasy football career.
Did he make it personal, or did you make it personal?
Okay, let's not go to those details.
I think it is.
I know that it was personal on his side. Either way. Eddie Lacy's career has ended ever since I dropped him.
I don't think it's personal. From his end. You have absolutely 100% made it personal. 100% we could rename this show the Eddie Lacy Hatred Show, and it would be a fitting name for what we're doing.
I would really like that.
You would love that.
I think that's a new name of the show.
Is Corey Coleman a good pickup?
This is you. You've had Corey Coleman.
Yeah, but again, who's his quarterback? This week it's Deshaun Kaiser. Next week it's Kevin Hogan.
The week
maybe
after
it's
that
Cody
it's Chris
Kessler.
Schubert.
Maybe I'm the
God
quarterback.
Only knows
you know
what's
what?
Gonna happen
How many fantasy
Cleveland?
points do I score if I play quarterback for the Cleveland Browns?
-5?
I'm good. I'm throwing 3 picks easy.
Negative.
So you have to factor
That's
that.
nice. Chris just said, "I'll throw 3 picks." Yeah.
So factor that in.
Throw 3 picks.
Factor in. I'm good for at least 3 interceptions because I'm not. You try to ask me to throw a deep ball, it's over.
So we just got a question: should I start Deshaun Kaiser this week? No. No.
Well, I don't know if he's going to stay in the game for 4 quarters because Hugh Jackson continues to take him out.
Yeah, you're not starting Deshaun Kaiser, Dion Lewis, or another Pats running back.
No.
I don't like any of the Patriots running backs. They're circling in and out. Rex Burkhead, they're Dion Lewis, James White. I would look to try and find somebody else, and I would stay away from New England's running backs if you can.
We have a Twitter question at the Keepers FF. Good friend of the program, Christian Ibarra, who works for FanRag Sports. He wants to know: has the ship sailed on Ty Montgomery in Green Bay? We talked about this on Tuesday.
We sure did.
I absolutely think the ship is sailing there. Do you want to know why? Snap counts are not in Ty Montgomery's favor.
Nope.
Targets are not in his favor. He's got 7 snaps in that game on Sunday.
Here's the thing with that is that Ty Montgomery is not meant to be a running back. He was a wide receiver, and now they have Aaron Jones, and Aaron Jones has proven that he can be the running back that they need. And now they're starting a backup in Brett Hundley, who is not doing a very good job. He's not Aaron Rodgers. He's not going to be able to make those throws. So they're relying on the rookie running back, Aaron Jones, a lot. And I love Jones. And if you're a Ty Montgomery owner like myself, you're frustrated, but you got to look elsewhere.
All right,
hopefully you picked up Jones.
Last one here so we can get into start and sit. Trade Jordy Nelson for Chris Hogan.
Yes.
All right, well, since one snuck in here, I'll get one more in. Danny Woodhead or Matt Asiata?
Ugh.
That's a
whole lot
that's
of
a very bad
But probably Danny
team.
Woodhead just because the running backs in Detroit are garbage.
Okay.
Garbage.
You want to do start and sit now?
Yeah, let's do start and sit. We're going to get into Matt Moore first.
Okay.
This is Thursday Night Football.
He's playing tonight.
Matt Moore, he is playing tonight.
So this is a decision that some people are going to have to make here in the next 10 minutes or so.
We got 9 minutes. We're going to go through these quickly.
Okay.
I am not starting Matt Moore.
Matt Moore. I said it earlier. He's good
for
2. The Ravens defense is good for 2 interceptions tonight.
You saw him for 1/2 against the Jets. That does not mean he played okay, but that doesn't mean you're starting him in fantasy football. There are way better options to go out there and get yourself a quarterback than Matt Moore.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm not starting him this week. Trevor Siemian. Next up on the list.
I think this is a start. I really do.
Okay, I'll let you. I know this is yours.
Well, and the reason why I think so, it's because the Chiefs, they're this big bad defense that we're all supposed to fear, right? No. The Chiefs, the first 3 weeks of the season, allowed only 2 touchdowns. That's good, right? Only 2 touchdowns allowed in terms of passing by quarterbacks the first 3 weeks of the season. Yes, math checks out there. Since then, 11 touchdowns over their next 4 games. They have not been good lately. Now, I know 5 of them came to Deshaun Watson in 1 game, but there is an opportunity here to score points. I like Trevor Siemian. They're throwing the ball a lot more. I know there have been struggles there, but this Kansas City defense is not what we thought it was. So if you're in a bind or a 2-quarterback league, I think Trevor Siemian's a deeper sleeper option this week.
Kansas City's given up a top 12 performance to quarterbacks over the last 4 weeks.
Those are the
good.
facts,
Those are
people.
numbers. Those are numbers that you want. Those are numbers. I'm laughing over here. Start Dr. Parekh or sit. That's coming in from the fantasy doctors on Twitter.
We're starting Dr. Parekh.
Well, I'm always starting Dr.
Yeah, no, he's in there.
He is in our starting lineup at all moments of time. Then yes, the Chiefs haven't had Eric Berry last week.
I think we're now starting. I think we're now exactly to your point. I think we're now exactly starting to see the loss of Eric Berry impact this offense, this defense.
100%. All right, LeGarrette Blount next up on our list of start and sit.
So this is a head scratcher.
Okay.
Because you'd think LeGarrette Blount's going to be the guy in this offense. And the 49ers, they give up the most points to running backs.
They sure do.
So you think, hey, I should play LeGarrette Blount. Carson Wentz is really good.
Yeah.
They're throwing the ball a lot more. And
he's slinging the ball around.
Corey Clement's involved. Wendell Smallwood's involved. It's tough to identify enough carries to go around. Also, LeGarrette Blount, how many touchdowns do you think he has this season?
1.
That's exactly right. He's got 1. 1 touchdown all year.
Your girl.
You need him to get into the end zone for him to be useful. And I don't know if he's going to get in with Carson Wentz throwing the ball as well.
He's not going to get in because this is what happens. You got to watch this trend. You got to see what Carson Wentz is doing. And Carson Wentz is throwing the ball, and he's throwing it all over the place. And this is bad news bears if you're a LeGarrette Blount owner, because this just means that he is not going to be getting those touches down in the red zone where you are used to him and you need him to score touchdowns. So I don't feel good about LeGarrette Blount, and I'm not starting him. And that's not reflective of him. It's just reflective of what's going on with their offense in totality.
Yes, I 100% agree.
All right, Charkandrick West up next. Kansas City Chiefs. He is playing Denver. He's the backup running back for the Kansas City Chiefs. He's had a couple of good weeks, and this is why this is here, because a lot of people are
they're going to try to jump on the hype train.
They're going to try and jump onto the hype train. And you are the king of the hype train.
I am the king of the hype train. I know it better than most.
Okay, so what are you doing here?
He is riding the pine this week. I'm not doing
give it to the people.
Yeah, he's riding the pine. He's out of there. He's done.
The pine.
Why? Broncos, the #1 rushing defense. And we talked about this at the beginning of the season. Last year, it was a problem for them stopping the run. This year, not a problem. They're doing an exceptional job of stopping the run. And Charkandrick West is the backup to Kareem Hunt. There's not going to be a lot of yards and points to go around. Kareem Hunt's going to get a lot of them. I'm sitting West down.
Yeah, I have Kareem Hunt. I'm starting Kareem Hunt, and I still don't feel good about it. Why is that? Because the Chiefs started off averaging 5.4 yards per carry. They are now down to 3. They're facing the toughest defense against the run in the Denver Broncos. I'm not feeling good about it.
No,
I'm not feeling good about it, but I'm starting Kareem Hunt, and I'm sitting Charkandrick West.
Quick Thursday night game update. Devontae Parker is out warming up for the Dolphins right now, but the word is that he's not going to play. That they're going to use the extra time to get him ready for next week's game.
That makes sense. That makes sense. All right, Jermaine Kearse. This is our last one for start and sit this week.
I mean, look, this is it's a tough call, right? I mean, I talked about this on our Sunday show, Pigskin with Pancakes. Jermaine Kearse nearly catches everything that goes his way. He's just really good at it. But the problem is the trends are not in his favor. He's gotten 4 targets his way each of the last 3 games. Not 1 target more, not 1 target less. 4 in each of the last 3 games. In 3 of the first 4 games of the season, he had 5 or more. He had 9 in week 1. I think he had 5 in week 3 and 7 in week 4. Since then, 4 in every game. And as we know, I'm a big fan of the trends. It's Trend Thursday. The trend's not in the favor of Jermaine Kearse. I'm sitting him down. He's probably a flex play at best.
Oh, we got one more here.
Yeah, this was the guy I wanted to talk about so much, and you're like, oh, we're done. I'm like, what?
Get rid of Chris's last one.
This is my guy.
Yeah, we're not doing Evan Ingram.
This is why.
We're doing Evan Ingram.
Because you don't want to give me the props here, because I've been on the Evan Ingram hype train for a couple of weeks now.
Well, because they don't have any other receivers to throw the ball to.
Literally, I don't think they have another wide receiver on the depth chart.
They don't have any other wide receivers.
Guess who led all tight ends in targets last week?
Evan Ingram.
With 12. Yep. Guess who has the 2nd most targets among tight ends for the season? Evan Ingram.
All right,
53 total targets. I do not care if it is a volume play. I do not care if he's playing a Rams team that is very good against the tight end. He's going to be a target in this offense because they have nobody else.
You are playing Evan Ingram.
He's playing this week.
You're playing Evan Ingram. You're playing him every week. You're playing him every week?
Every week. I don't care who he plays. He's going in there.
Chris, let's go to the poll real fast.
I don't really want to do this.
Oh, Chris. Right. Let's see how he does here. Starter sit Johnny Manziel.
I think I would sit him down. I think I did it right.
Uh-oh.
There it is. There's the poll.
Oh, there's the lovely poll.
There you go. There you go. Look at that.
There you go. Look at what's going on. There I am.
I'm just showing everyone what the Periscope looks like.
I'm on the page. Hello. Chris, I'm the conductor of the hype train. That's what you are.
I am the conductor of the hype train.
He's the conductor of the hype train.
Yes, there you go. There's a little. So here's the poll question of the day. Which is the best defense? Minnesota, Philly, Kansas City, Baltimore, Seattle, or my favorite defense?
Who's going to score the most points this week?
Who's going to score the most points this week? I think this is obvious. Do you want me to read some of the votes here?
Yeah, read some of the votes.
The Saints. We have C. So see, people are following the rules. Don't make
Kansas City Chiefs.
Don't make me ban anybody this week. Vikings. A. What is this answer here?
A, Rams and NFC, CD, Pittsburgh.
You just named 15 teams here. You can't do that.
And then E.
We got E, which is other. And then you didn't say, oh, no, E is Seattle.
So we got a couple of votes. We're kind of all over the place here. Who is your vote going for?
Minnesota. They're playing the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, there's no way that it's not
That's going to be a lot of points. So who do you got this week?
Who do I got this week? I'm going with the Minnesota Vikings.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure we were the same on this. Now, I'm going to do something bold again here.
Oh, boy.
I'm going back to the main graphic.
Oh, boy. This is going to be scary. This could really turn out
to
be.
There it is.
Oh, Chris. Everybody give a round of applause.
I'm going to give myself a round of applause this week. Yeah, that was very good.
Applause for Chris.
Yes, I did a very good job.
Mess up the HDMI
I did not.
switcher.
What are you doing over there? What are you playing? You playing some tunes?
Yeah.
Little tunes to show out here?
To end the show. Chris, any parting thoughts on today's show?
Not really. I don't really have anything for everybody. Periscope making fun of me about my hat hair.
I love it.
I don't even wear a hat, so I mean they have that.
Chris,
there you go. Hi guys.
Hello guys.
No, look, I think stay away from the Thursday night matchups. I hate Thursday night matchups. I hate London matchups. Yeah, I just hate them. They're just bad for fantasy. And Minnesota and Cleveland, they are the London matchup. I know I just said that Minnesota's going to score the most points defense. You want to know why? Because they're playing in London, and that's a disaster.
Yeah, we did get a last thing here, and that is the Dolphins defense tonight. I actually do like them, and that's because they're playing the Baltimore Ravens offense, who is inept. And that is a nice word.
Inept is an understatement.
Yeah. Well, Chris, everybody can follow him at Chris R. Schubert. Everyone can follow me at @the_sports page with an I. And you can follow us at the Keepers FF. But for Chris Schubert, I'm Paige DeMacos. Thanks for joining us.